Hey, what's going on, everybody? Andrew here, back for our build review show. It is Friday, April 4th of 2025, and on this show, I bring users' builds up live on stream, giving them personalized feedback and advice about things I think that they can do differently in their builds to help improve their post-contest sim ROIs and ultimately help them to build and submit stronger lineups into their contests. So we do this show every Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern. If you ever want to get signed up for a show, two ways to do so. One, send us an email, support@sabersim.com. Second, post it live in the office hours channel and let me know what sport, site, and slate you want me to review, and I'll add you to the list for the next show. But we actually don't have anybody signed up today. So what we're going to do is we are going to basically just like review some of the best players in the lobby and see how they're playing and see if we can like learn anything from that. Like, hey, if we're trying to build a winning MLB process, how do we do so? And who do we want to review? How do we want to review them? And what can we learn? So what I was thinking about doing is going back to like a little bit bigger slate. We'll go back to like this. And we will go back here and we will try and get a sense of what some of the best players in the lobby are doing and how we can use that information to guide our own process, right? So what I was thinking about doing, going back here, looking at the large field 150 max contest from 2 days ago, the relay throw, and going over to users. So we mostly want to look at maxers, right? These are going to be some of the best players in the lobby who probably long-term winners, have a really big bankroll, and see what they're doing, right? So first things first, a little bit want to talk about winning expectations here, right? Notice highest sim ROIers here. Most of them are taking a loss on the day. Their sim median profit is negative. It's like their most likely outcome, but they all have a really high 99% profit, right? So why is this? Well, there are, let's see, 15,000 entries, right? And only first place is getting, 25% of the prize pool. So, you do what's 1% of 15,000. It is, let's see, 10% is 1,500. So that means 1% is 150. So the top 0.1% of the content. So it's a very, hard thing to do, come in the top 0.01% of the contest, which is why their median is usually negative, but their sim 99% profit, saying their top 1% of sims, is usually them winning the contest, right? So just a little bit about winning expectations there. You could be submitting strong lineups, but having poor actual results. That happens. Now, that doesn't mean these lineups are bad. It's basically what I'm trying to say. These are still good, strong lineups, and we could still learn something from them, right? So let's just take the top sim ROIer, Z Roth 2 here, and let's see what they're doing. So we come in and we just look at these results. Okay. Salary is average 49.3, right? So they're not like jamming salary, they're not playing super high, but still good, right? This kind of goes in line, I think, with like the minimum. If you just like go to a build, almost positive the minimum on a large slate is 49,000. And I think it's like 10 games or bigger. The minimum is 49,000. And then I think like 6, 7, it's like 48,000. So this seems okay to leave salary where it is. It's not like we're seeing a bunch of like 49.8s, 49.9s, 50Ks, right? So kind of tells me we don't really need to do anything there. Zero average dupes across the board here. So seems like, baseball, big player pool, a lot of games, not something you need to be overly concerned about. And then again, right, just looking at like the top sim ROI maxers, right? There's only about 10 of them. All of them fairly good sim average score, 100.6, 100.1, 99, 98, a couple 99s, 98, 196 and 197 kind of sneaking in here right at about neutral. But these lineups are well projected. They aren't getting to like some crazy low projections and still, holding pretty good here. So well projected lineups. fair salary, and then let's look at like some of the decisions that were made here, right? So we go into Roth, and then we go over to projections. This should show us. Let's try that again. Interesting. We should be able to see the lineups. Let's go back to 150. Tomorrow, I'll try something else. See how happens when we do shady. So I'm not sure why this isn't working, but I'll look into it. But let's just try another contest. I want to see if it's the same. And let's go back to the day before. Okay. Another big slate. No, not Mega 8s. Let's try the bat flip. Z-Roth kind of crushing. It's like another day and another top sim ROI. All right. Okay, so this one works. I don't know why this day worked and the other one didn't. Sometimes contest files can get messed up, but this day works, right? So Z-Roth again, different 150 max slate, but we are sorting for them, and then we can get a sense of like how they handled everything, right? So I like to start like a little bit zoomed out, start with like stacks. So okay, they're playing mostly 5-2s, 5-3s. So 50, 65, like about 75% of their portfolio is 5 stacks or bigger. They are getting to about 20% 4 stacks, and then a couple 3 stacks, right? This tells me one thing, that they're not ruling it out. They're allowing it to come up as it comes up. But even, they're not saying like, hey, I don't want any. They're just like, no, I'll take them as they come up, right? So not ruling out 3 stacks or less, but still only getting to a couple. So it seems fine. Okay. Not like hammering any particular game. Pretty flat with team stacks. What I would probably add here is projected runs. I actually want to see how they're handling the highest projected run teams and the lowest projected run teams, right? So we were having a little bit of like a discussion about this in like office hours today. And we were talking about like, hey, what do I do when the builder is like giving me a ton of lower projected teams? Well, one, we saw that that average projection does matter, right? So what I really suggested was like, hey, just limit your exposure to these teams. If SaberSim's telling you to play 40, maybe you come down and play like 10%. Maybe you come down and play, something else, right? Here, getting to, Roth is getting to a couple of these lower projected run teams, but look how much of their portfolio is taking up: 3%, 4%, 6%, 4%, right? They are allowing these teams to be played, but at a very low rate. So it's like, okay, if this team is going to be 1% owned, 2% owned, getting 4%, getting 6% is more than enough, right? You're going to have leverage on the field when you do that. You're going to have the best lineups that SaberSim has with those teams. So I like this approach. It kind of goes with what we were saying, where just allow them to be played, but just manage your risk and kind of tone them down a little bit. Took a little bit bigger stand on like Washington here. It's like their one big stand. It's always okay to take stands on the slate. And then for some of the higher teams, right, got to them, but kind of spread it out, right? I mean, I think this is like kind of cool. So they're getting to like a fair amount of like Tampa Bay, a fair amount of Toronto. And what we could do, right? We could even like go and look at the ownership of these teams. So I say, okay, what is Tampa Bay's ownership? And then compare that to their exposure, right? The leverage here isn't like massive. So, okay, we go to like leverage, let's add leverage. Start that over. So like, hey, I see that, Tampa Bay is the highest projected run team on the slate. I don't really want my day to rely around them. So I'm just going to kind of match my exposure pretty closely and take shots elsewhere, right? So like, okay, hey, let's kind of just get even with the field on Tampa Bay. Wrong one. Let's go Toronto. I'm assuming they did the same here. Yeah, really, really like look at these leverages, like zeros, twos, threes, right? Like super minor. Let's get, kind of even with Toronto. I'm actually interested to see what the order is here. Order. Yeah, pretty flat. So, okay, going to get pretty close to even with Toronto, but then, going to go and take some shots on some other teams. Oh, Washington was actually kind of chalky. I'm surprised because they were so low. Like, not too much leverage on Washington. Where did they get leverage? I think it was San Francisco. Still kind of flat here. So seems like playing low leverage, diversified sets of lineups and not getting too weird kind of anywhere. Like we looked at San Francisco, we looked at Washington, right? We looked at Toronto, we looked at Tampa Bay. These are like their highest exposed teams. And then we can just like go and look at exposures. So these are all their batter exposures. Seems like they got a little bit over on Judge, probably like closer to like a one-off. But look at all these leverages, right? Mostly there's actually only one positive double-digit leverage, which was Aaron Judge. I'm trying to see if there's double-digit negative. I could just go like this, actually. So double-digit positive, 1. And 0 double-digit negative. So this tells you that their band is like not very big. They're like, okay, we're going to go, so far this way, we're going to go so far that way, but we're not going to take these massive stands at batters. So this is actually really interesting. It's also interesting that Judge is like their highest leverage and highest exposed when the Yankees stacks were only like 6% of their portfolio. So kind of interesting there. But this is cool, right? I think I learned something from this, right? Like how top sim ROI players are handling kind of batter exposures. Okay, then let's go look at pitchers. Okay, so pitchers taking a little bit bigger stands here, right? So really high on Gilbert. And I actually want to add something else. I want to add a value. So Gilbert, like far and away the highest value pitcher, 2.42. That next highest is like 2.07. And they got way over on him, right? So here it looks like their highest leverages were the highest value pitchers. And then from there, they just get a little bit more spread out, a little bit under on certain plays. Richardson, Berrios, but like not like egregious, right? Like these positive leverages are double digit. And then everything else is just kind of like similar to the batter. So high value pitchers, big stands, kind of flat elsewhere. We saw like the plus minus band with like the batters, and we saw, no more than like 23% to like any one team, and it went down fast, right? 22 and then 17, 15. We saw how they were handling their stack allocation and distribution there. This is cool, right? I think you can learn from this. I think you can use this to start to get ideas about maybe things I'm doing, maybe things the sim is giving me. Do I need to, manually tweak? Like the one user was telling me like, hey, I'm getting a lot of, the lower projected run teams. Like, yeah, they might work out well over the long term, but maybe I need to come in here and limit them to less than, 10% max exposures, right? Like that could be something that you start to do. And just like, you could follow one player across different slates. Like, hey, how are they handling a 10-game slate versus, a 3-game slate, a 2-game slate, right? And See if the strategy changes, right? You want to understand slate dynamics and things like that. Hey, does it matter whether there's 10 games, 4 games, 3 games, 2 games? So if you were trying to, get better at MLB DFS and, build a winning process, it's always good to study the best players. So this is what I would be doing. I would be doing this for multiple players. Look at the top 3. Look at, if you have more time, look at more, right? Look at names that or people that you've heard of, right? So all of those things can be good here, but this is how I would be utilizing Contest Flashback to its fullest potential, right? We don't know why they're doing it. We don't have access to their builds or to the person to explain why they're doing it, but we can see what their lineups look like and we can still learn from that. So that's what I've been doing there. Reminder, we do this show once a week. If you ever want to get signed up, 2 ways to do so. Send us an email, support@sabersim.com, to post an office hours channel. Let me know what date, sport, site, and slate you want reviewed. Just like, hey, Andrew, can you review my DraftKings MLB main slate lineups from April 2nd or something like that? And I can totally do that for you. But other than that, we're going to get out of here. Appreciate you guys tuning in. I'll be back tomorrow, 12:30 p.m. Eastern, for our next show. So until then, everybody, take care. Good luck. Thanks. Bye.